It's going now. One sec. It's saying preparing to live stream the webinar. And it's setting up. It's like halfway done. So when it starts, I'm going to introduce the video. All right, and we're live. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to this week's live Q&A on my channel. I'm Dan, and then here we got two amazing eCom Freedom team members. We got Josh back and we got Scott Suggs with us here today. And basically, just to kind of talk about what we're going to do today, this is the first time that I have Josh and Scott on the channel. I think I had them for another video like a month ago or so, but basically Josh, he owns a successful e-commerce brand. He's our head of Shopify at eCom Freedom. So basically he's like the Shopify pro. And then we got Scott, and Scott is our head of Amazon at eCom Freedom. And basically I'm gonna have these guys just answer questions with me. So if you guys are here on this stream, welcome. Feel free to ask anything you want to do with starting your successful online business, starting Amazon FBA, Shopify, anything, product research, Facebook ads, honestly, anything. I mean, like any topic, we'll cover it. But I'll give you guys the opportunity to introduce yourselves. Let's start with Josh.
Hey guys, yeah, my name's Josh. Nice to meet you. And yeah, just any Shopify questions, hit me up, and yeah, we'll get going.
Nice. So maybe tell them a little bit about yourself, how you kind of got into, like, how you became a part of eCom Freedom and what you do at eCom Freedom.
Yeah, sure. So I joined eCom Freedom a little while ago when it was launched, and yeah, I just got to work and it really hit it off. And then Dan was looking for someone to kind of manage the group and just give an extra layer of mentorship alongside himself. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, and helping students with any questions that they have at any step of the way. So it's been good. It's been great.
Awesome. And so and then also let's introduce Scott. Scott, introduce yourself.
Hey, so I've been selling on Amazon majority of the time. I also do Shopify for my brand as well, but I've been selling on Amazon for close to 6 years now. At the end of 2020 or at the start of 2021, it will have been 6 years that I've been doing it consistently, full time, and have 7 figures in sales through my brand. And I met Dan a while back ago through some mutual acquaintance, and then kept in touch, and ended up here at eCom Freedom, which has been great so far.
Awesome, cool. So I think we have some people on here. I think on the stream it's showing we have about 100 people watching. So if you guys are on the stream right now, there's me, there's myself, there's Josh, there's Scott. We're all e-commerce pros. Go ahead and ask your questions, because basically we're going to go on here for an hour, 2 hours, and anything to do with Amazon, Shopify, life, entrepreneurship, how to succeed. Okay, let's see. So I have the live chat open. So if you join, by the way, just introduce say where you're from in the chat so I can see that you're here. And then basically, yeah, and then just let me know if you guys see this, because this is the first time we're actually live streaming from Zoom, which is an experience in itself. Okay. All right, we got the first person here. Do you guys have the chat open too?
Yep, got it open.
Okay, cool. So we got Luke, who said, Luke, where you're from, put it in the chat. But Luke says, I can't seem to find the right product to sell. I'm using Ecom Hunt, Facebook ads, other YouTube videos, but I can't really decide on a product to sell. So I think instead of me answering, because I answer every week, I think I'll let you answer, Josh. This seems like more of a Shopify question. So
yeah, sure. So finding the right product to sell at the beginning is always the most difficult, especially with if you're doing drop shipping or Shopify, because of such a low barrier to entry, and there's millions of products in the world out there that you could potentially try. There's no per se, there's no bad product, right? It's all about how you market it, how you differentiate yourself with competitors and all that kinds of stuff. So with that being said, I would say that you need to look at your product research a little bit differently. Ecom Hunt, they just give out, all these products every so often. This product's great to sell, this product's great to sell, blah, blah, blah. However, everyone has access to that. With Shopify dropshipping, everyone, like millions of people who are in this game have access to that. And they're going to have better rates, they're going to have better fulfillment times, all that kinds of stuff. So maybe start thinking about products that are widely used, have widespread appeal, but it has room for, development. How can you make it different? How can you make it more fun? How can you make the brand better? How can you enhance the customer journey or the user experience? That's what I did with my product, and it's been killing it ever since.
So I think it would be good for you to go into a little bit of like what really helped you, because Josh was actually an early student of my Shopify Freedom program when it was just released. And maybe if you can share, because like you took the course and then you watched everything, and like you did something different though, like you really went above and beyond. So maybe share a little bit about what made success come quicker for you in that case.
Yeah, sure. So pretty much I was a student of Shopify, and I was always a big like advocate, or like a a big fan of Dan's what's called Amazon videos as well. So with those two in mind, right, what he teaches in the course as well as what he teaches free on YouTube, I kind of had a look at something that I'm passionate about. So I'm super passionate about like working out, like my pets, all that kinds of stuff, right? And I started thinking, what is something that I myself want? Like, what's something that I think that is missing in the market, right? And at that time, there was this one really, really oversaturated product that pretty much I was like, what if I just change it a little bit? What if I make it look a little bit nicer? What if I, put it in a nice box rather than just chuck it into some, just some crappy white box and ship it off to Amazon? So we spent, a good 6 months designing it, going back and forth, and yeah, it was completely different. No one can compete with us just because it's so brand new, and I can charge $40 more than my competitors, and it still sells. That's all it is. Yeah.
So it seems like you really went, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's pretty obvious, like you really went above and beyond, and you basically invented a product, and you went, like Josh went through the whole patenting process, trademarking, of course. So these are the things that will come later for most of you on this chat. I'm assuming that you guys are brand new. So like, obviously judging by the questions, you don't have to worry about all this stuff. But I think one of the great things that Josh said out of everything he said, which was great, but one of the best things he said was like a lot of people, they focus on like when doing product research, I feel like they watch YouTube videos and stuff, and you get used to like, okay, I got to watch Dan's latest product research technique, or I got to watch this guy's latest product research technique. But I think honestly, if I look back, my most successful products and my biggest successes in general in life came from just sitting down and just thinking about, just like you did, like what product do I want, or what feels right to do. And so I feel like just really helpful for anyone starting an e-commerce store or brand today, whether it's on Amazon or Shopify, like, learn the product research techniques, watch the videos, but don't over obsess with them. Just like sit down and, take a piece of paper and just think about the products that you would want in your life. And don't worry about how you would actually manufacture them. Don't worry about how you would make that come true, because nowadays with the internet, you can literally create anything. You can get any improvement you want. Suppliers are more than happy to work with you. Of course, it's going to cost a little bit more money, but I feel like that's the best way for sure in the future. So maybe Scott, maybe you have some good wisdom to offer for like to help with the product research process for people.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that where a lot of people run into trouble with product research is they end up, what a lot of people tell me is they kind of end up seeing the same products over and over again. And students will get that as well, where they'll, a lot of them end up submitting the same product or finding the same product. And I think a lot of that comes from, and also a lot from YouTube videos as well, where they kind of show product research, where they just like, plug in this filter, plug in this filter, plug in this filter, and then look at the products. And if everyone's using the same filters and using the same guidelines to find a product, they're going to end up with basically the same products, right? So it's good if you can kind of find an alternative way to find those products. So it could be looking at maybe some trends, other marketplaces other than Amazon, seeing what's popular elsewhere. There's also, places like Etsy or Pinterest or some of these other places that have a lot of products from different sellers on there that aren't just on Amazon. That's a good place. If you can find like online catalogs, online catalogs that you can look through to find potential product ideas, your own passion as well. So if you can think of what you're interested in, that also helps if you're going to be building a long-term business on Amazon. It helps if you actually enjoy the product and you enjoy working with it, because I one of the first products I started with on Amazon, I sold it and it was selling successfully, but ultimately I decided I don't want to move forward with this. Like, it's not my passion. I'm not interested in it, and I don't want to build a brand around this product. So I pivoted into another product that I enjoyed more, and then built a product line, around that. So that can help too.
Nice. So yeah, I hope that was just all of our insight. I hope that was valuable for you guys here, especially in the product research process, because that is consistently the part, or the part in the process where people struggle the most in getting their either Amazon or Shopify business up and running. So let's take another question here. Okay, this is a good one. This is not to do with Amazon or Shopify, but still very relevant. Should I drop out from college? I'm pursuing a bachelor's degree in business. What do you guys think? Should Mohit drop out from college?
I might have a different opinion on this, but I didn't go to college myself. But my personal opinion be, if you're already in college and you're doing it, I probably wouldn't recommend dropping out personally. I'd say, go forward, finish it off. But that might be a different opinion than some other people. I have the same opinion as well. When people ask me, should I quit my job? And most of the time I say, no. I know you did it differently, Dan, and I did it differently myself. So it just goes to show you that you have like different routes to success. But for me, I was able to work a full-time job and start my Amazon business at the same time. And then eventually my Amazon business, increased to the point where I could pay myself a full-time salary and go full-time on it and do it that way. So yeah, that's just my opinion on it.
How are you, a question for you, Scott, how are you able to, the reason when I quit my job, I quit my job before I started Amazon. I found out about it and then I quit it. And then, well, actually for myself, what I was doing was I quit my job because I was tired of that job and of my boss and the whole thing. So for me, I actually decided to start a window cleaning business. And then I used that, I worked throughout the day and used that income to fund my Amazon business. So I was going to ask you, how are you able to have the discipline or manage your time well enough where you're okay, I'm still working a 40-hour per week, 9-to-5 job. And, I'm still going to put in the work and start this Amazon thing. How were you able to do that, Scott?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, like you mentioned, one, you have to want it bad enough. I think some people, they don't really truly deep down, want it bad enough to put up with putting in some extra time. So once you get off of work, it's very hard to kind of focus. You're kind of just done with work and you don't want to do any more work anymore after that. But you kind of just have to focus yourself in and be willing to do that next step when you're not working. I was fortunate enough as well to have in my job, I could actually, the nice thing when you're starting with Amazon is there's delays when you're starting, right? You might contact a supplier, but then there might be time in there. It might be a week or something. Maybe you order a sample. It takes a week or two for a sample to get to you. Then you check out the sample and you go into negotiations with them. So it's not something necessarily you have to be every single day, minute by minute, you're working on something. There's time in there that you can spread it out to be able to manage both at the same time. Or, if you're working something with hours, maybe you cut back your hours a little bit so you can have more time, to put towards something else. But I think for me, if you're starting an e-com business, unless you already have a good savings, like you did, or you had a business where you could have some savings, cash flow and cash management is important when you're doing an e-commerce business, because, you need to buy inventory, you need to do marketing, you need to do stuff. And if you're broke and don't have any money, it's going to be a struggle to move forward.
So I feel like a lot of people, I feel, sorry to interrupt you. I feel like I wanted to say this before we move on to the next point. I feel like a lot of people underestimate the importance of like cash flow and having money to start, because like, okay, everybody wants to start a 6-figure, 7-figure business with the least amount of money possible, right? At the fastest possible time. And, you know, with the least amount of work. That's just how we are as human beings. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just our nature. The thing is though, is that like with e-commerce specifically, and I realized this quickly when I started, at first I was like looking for a business that I could start with like $1,000, you know, whatever. And I found out that, oh, you could do that theoretically with Amazon. It's going to be tight with like, obviously your second product inventory order, because it's not just your first order. But yeah, at a point I realized, I'm like, wait a second, like money is literally like fuel for this business, because without units, I make no money, you know, with Amazon or with Shopify. So yeah, a lot of people like they underestimate that. And so that's why what Scott said is a very, you know, it's very logical, and you know, there's different opinions. Someone will tell you quit your job, drop out of school and just do it. Which is probably what I would have said like years ago. Now I'm a little bit different. I'll say, you know what, it depends on the person. It depends on, you know, there's a whole other like side of this too. And I'm going to let you finish. And then also I would like to hear Josh's opinion on this, but there's the side of like, well, if you don't quit your job or you don't kind of, you know, put away the old stuff that you're doing, like there is a backup, and you might just get lazy because you always have a backup. But I feel like we should cover that later. But go ahead, Scott. Sorry.
I think that pretty much like what you just mentioned pretty much wraps it up. But you know, I think it's true with any business that you're starting up. Like, you know, it takes money. If you're going to start a regular brick and mortar business, you know, you need money for payroll, you need money for rent, and those expenses are continual. They're every month, right? So it's kind of like if you're always under the gun and under fire, where you're like, I don't have any money left, I can't order new inventory, I can't do marketing, I can't do anything, and you get stuck, right? It can be hard to get yourself out of that. So I think that whether it's side jobs, you know, doing little side jobs to make extra money, or it's, you know, keeping a regular job or keeping your full-time job or a part-time job, whatever it is, you need money to be able to fuel your business. Now, there's some people who they have the support of their parents, or maybe they have, you know, a good amount of savings or something they can work off of, which is fine. But, you know, for most people that are starting from scratch, you know, they need some capital to be able to get going.
Yeah, for sure. Josh, what do you think about this?
Yeah, so we have I have a student that I'm working pretty closely with in the group, and he's kind of in the same situation. He's studying engineering. He's 20 years old, and he started his you know, his first Shopify store, and he asked me the same question, and it was again based on his current circumstances. Like that based my answer. I pretty much said, look, you're earning 1,000 a day, 1,500 a day. It's good money, right? However, you haven't built the business up to a point where it's like foolproof, it's bulletproof, right? Because there's so much uncertainty in the world right now, and his parents wanted him to go and, you know, pursue a college degree and all this kinds of stuff. I was like, why don't we get to 100K? You can show them the 100K in the month, and then you can be like, okay, what do you want me to do? And then have that conversation. But just dropping out straight away with so many different levers or different things that could go wrong, I don't think it would be the greatest idea. Yeah, but I'm a little bit risk averse. But yeah.
I mean, so this is just to clarify, this is a student that is in our Shopify Freedom program, like part of eCom Freedom. And Josh, he's the head of Shopify. So he basically works with students one-on-one through like Facebook, through messages. That's mostly how you've been mentoring this particular student, right? Through Facebook messages and like chat one-on-one.
Yeah. And he's always turning up. Like we have weekly live Q&As, and he's always there pretty much every single time, asking as many questions as possible, really trying to, you know, get the most out of it.
Unfortunately, the vast minority of people who join not just our course, but courses in general are that way. You know, they don't commit 100%. It's like if you committed 100%, even if the course is the best possible, you know, has the best information, it's like people, it's just like the gym, you know, people get lazy and stuff, unfortunately. But that's awesome to hear. That's crazy though. He's doing like 1,000, you said 1,000 a day sales, right? So, yep. So what's his margin? Like probably like 300 a day profit.
So surprisingly, he came up with a really, really cool idea. and his cost of goods is like maybe 20% of his overall. So he's making a decent amount of money. Cost of acquisition on Facebook is very, very low as well. So his net profits are like 50%, on bad days, 35.
So you mentioned cool idea, and I feel like, again, remember we going back to this product selection thing, you know, where there's like, I feel like there's two ways now in this new e-commerce world of like finding products. The old way was like, just watch YouTube videos. If it's Amazon, pull up Jungle Scout, plug in the filters, let's go. Let's start selling some party hats or like some, you know, just like some generic, super generic commodity product, like fidget spinners back then it was, you know, and all these things. And, you know, that's like the old way. And I feel like there's also this new way where it's like, yeah, you can still, I mean, you can't really do that. You're still going to have to think for yourself, really. You're still going to have to like, you know, sit down and write down in front of you, like really tune into almost your soul. You know, you have to like, think about it. Like, what product would I want to see in the world? What products have I ran into on a daily basis, maybe just in the past week or so, you know, in the past few weeks. And, you know, believe it or not, I feel like that is how all the most successful e-commerce brand owners get their ideas. They probably not through like the product research techniques, but probably, you know, like that. And you also mentioned that his cost of his cost of goods, you said his cost of goods is 20%, right?
Yeah, it's super low. Yeah.
Meaning that, just to break it down for everyone on the live, that means that if he's selling, I'm not sure exactly what product it's on, but if he's selling a product for like, if it's 20% cost. So if he's selling a product for $50 on his store, that means that he's paying $10 for the product. And that's including shipping?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 20% including shipping. So that's insane. And so he has all that like margin left to advertise, like on Facebook or Google or YouTube or whatever, right? So that's huge. So he obviously did, like, how did he find that particular product? And, you know, I don't want you to reveal any products, but how was he able to, like, did he just follow the course step by step, or did he follow it and then he like kind of did his own thing?
Yeah. So it's similar to what I was saying about how I got started with my product. We kind of had like a similar kind of pathway. We pretty much took the key underlying, you know, principles and that you teach in the course, but we adapt it to our own, like where we are in life, what kind of product we like, what kind of products we think will provide the most value to our customers. And because he thought of that first, he thought of that value. How can I provide the most value to as many people as possible? He's able to differentiate himself, and now he's able to just dominate this one market. One other thing I should quickly say, he's focused. He could have gone really widespread appeal on this one product, but I actually encouraged him to go and really niche down into this one subset of customers, right? So these people are just super on fire for his brand now, and you can see it in the returns, you can see it in the ads. You know, for someone to get a purchase on Facebook for $2, it's unheard of. I've never seen it, so I'm just like, yeah.
Is that on like scaled out ad sets, like, or is that on like a $10 ad set that he just launched or something?
So he's actually starting off very, very low. Like, you know, we recommend like $10, $5 ad sets just at the beginning, because not everyone has that capital like everyone does. But he's recently launched like a $200 CPO, which is a type of Facebook, you know, ad campaign. And yeah, he's still getting those $2-3 acquisition costs, which is
and he
amazing.
Just lets Facebook optimize it. He just lets like he targets. Does he target? Without going into too much detail, is it really specific targeting, or does he just throw in like a bunch of different things and then he just lets Facebook do the work? Is that what he's doing?
Yeah. So pretty much he literally just threw it all in based on, you know, the teachings in the course, but he didn't really understand it. With the mentorship though, we've kind of dialed it in, And before it might have got, cost of like $5 acquisition, all that kind of stuff. But because we've dialed it in, he's getting like $2, $3 acquisitions, and he's just so much more profitable, So yeah, he's doing amazing.
Nice. Yeah. So like I said, I feel like there's like the people that like, there are those that succeed with e-commerce, and they take the programs and they succeed, but then it's like, okay, how do we make this last, and to make it last, you really, as an entrepreneur, fundamentally, you must improve, like you must offer added value in some way. And people forget that. I used to forget this when I first started out. I was like, I'm just going to copy paste a product on Amazon and that worked for a little bit. But then obviously I ran into some issues, sooner or later you will. If you're not actually adding value in whatever you're doing, it's not going to last long term. It doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to invent like a new, rocket ship. Like it doesn't have to be something nuts. Like it can just be, I wouldn't say it can honestly be marginally better. I don't like marginally because then it's like, okay, like 1% better. Obviously, no, probably like 5%, 10%. That's what you probably should aim for in terms of like an improvement for the product. You just write down improvements, think of an improvement, contact the supplier, talk to more than one supplier. And yeah, I feel like that's definitely the best way to go for most people now. Try to do that. If you can't do that, that's fine. Like just follow the classic kind of method, whether it's Shopify or Amazon, just follow step by step, like what I teach in the videos, what we got going on in the courses, but always try to go above and beyond. So let's see, let's take another question. Got a lot of questions. If you guys have joined, we're doing a live stream here with Josh. He's our head of Shopify at Ecom Freedom, and Scott, he's our head of Amazon at Ecom Freedom. Both very, very successful. They got their own e-commerce brands and products. So they're here to answer all of your questions. And I'm happy that we kind of got us all three together on board here on Saturday. We're doing these weekly live Q&As every Saturday. Next one, basically it's always going to be me every Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Next Saturday, it's also going to be me. And then we'll probably just alternate having like Josh come on, Scott come on, sometimes all three of us. So yeah, just depending on if you guys are enjoying it, leave a comment in the chat telling us what you think of this. I think it's really helpful. Okay. Maybe if you guys have the chat open, you guys also feel free to choose a question and we can just do that.
Yeah, I'll go have a look. How about Scott? We should pick out like one or two each.
Okay, I think this is a really good one here. Hey, what to do when there's a lot of traffic? I'll rephrase. What do you do when you're getting a lot of traffic but no sales on Shopify?
Yeah, I guess the first point of call there is, where are you getting this traffic from? You can get traffic off Facebook, but there are different tiers in terms of quality of traffic, right? If you do like a lower, like a post, a PPE campaign, which is an engagement campaign, then of course you're going to get a lot of people into the store, but they might not be those people who you want on the store. There might be those that are window shoppers that are just coming out to just check it out. So I guess that's the first point of call. If you are optimizing your campaigns for those higher quality customers, then maybe something, in terms of your messaging, your marketing on the page or your ad is not really resonating with them. It's all about, it's easy for us as sellers to often see these customers as numbers. I have 500 people on my store right now, blah, blah, blah. Like, why aren't they purchasing? But these are all 500 different individuals, right? So we need to make sure that our messaging, what we're showing them on the page, is what they need and what they want to see at that point. Is it solving a pain point? Is it providing them this added value? Is it going to make their life this much better? So it's all about that messaging and that marketing. If it's not on point, then yeah, maybe it's time to go back, have a look at it, review, what you're trying to do, and start thinking about these people as real people, and try to provide as much value as possible. And then, yeah, sales will just take care of itself.
Cool.
Mm.
I feel like we should grab an Amazon question here. What do you guys recommend to do with the new 200 limit for Amazon FBA? Should I purchase multiple products to try out? Scott?
I would say that there's a couple of different ways you can handle it. So I actually covered this just the other day in one of the live Q&A calls for the group. But the solution is if you're getting a custom-made product with branding, custom packaging, whatever, you're most of the time not going to get a manufacturer is going to give you like 200 or less units. And even if they did give you 200 less units, that's not really enough to do a real effective launch on Amazon. Because by the time you actually launch the product, do your marketing, and then you get your new inventory from China shipped, you're going to be out of stock. And then all those efforts you did to rank your product and get it going are basically going to start over. So one option would be if you have space, you can have it in your house. Some people have their own personal storage unit, they have a garage, they have an extra room, whatever the case may be. So that's an option. You can always keep it at your own place and then ship it into Amazon. Another option would be to work with if you have a freight forwarder. A lot of freight forwarders have their own warehouse in the United States. So if they have space available, a lot of them actually got filled up and they're not taking any more storage space, but you can always ask them if they have a warehouse to store in, or if they have a referral. And next one is just a 3PL, which is third-party logistics company. There's lots of warehouses out there that do shipping and receiving and fulfillment and different things like that. And you just have to get in touch with them and see what the cost is, if they'll accept you to be able to do it. But one of those three options will work. But if you use a 3PL, all you have to do is when you're ready to send an inventory, you just create a shipping plan on Amazon. You send them the shipping labels, however many boxes you're sending to Amazon. They'll put it on the box. They'll put it there for like UPS, for example, to come pick up, and they'll ship it into Amazon. So it's pretty easy, but it's nice to have it in the US as opposed to in China, because then, if you have a 200 limit and you sell 100 units, well, you can just quickly send in another 100 to keep you at your limit. And then if you're selling well, eventually that limit will go up. It's not a fixed limit. So if you're actually selling, that limit will gradually increase, and then you can send in a full order. But it's just to start. Because what Amazon's trying to avoid into Q4 is people sending in, a lot of sellers send in extra inventory, and they're trying to prevent someone sending in, 1,000 plus units and then selling like one a day, right? Because you're just taking up space inside of their warehouse that could be going to other sellers that are selling more. So that's what they're trying to avoid. But as long as you're selling well, that limit will actually increase eventually.
Cool. And someone asked the bookkeeping question, like what's the best thing to do for bookkeeping for Amazon or Shopify? Me, I'm old school. I love just like QuickBooks and Google Sheets, me personally. How about you guys? What do you guys do?
Yeah, for me, it's pretty similar. I would say if you're working with an accountant, you can work with them to set up a system. That's what I did. I went to them and they kind of like set me up the way they want it to be done. But basically, it's a combination of a software that keeps track of your Amazon numbers. There's lots of software that basically pull all your numbers from Amazon and all your fees and all that type of stuff. So managed by stats, there's lots of different ones that do that. And then a combination of that mixed with Xero, which is basically like QuickBooks. It's Xero, Xero. But so between those two software things, that's how I do my bookkeeping. And then basically my accountant has access to it. And at the end of the year, they just go in, see everything and do the tax return.
And Josh, what do you think?
Yeah. So I'm the same as these guys. Like we keep a manual Excel spreadsheet of like our ad spend and what our product costs are and all that kinds of stuff, and then pass it to our bookkeepers, and then they kind of like reconcile it all. We haven't got to the point where automations it's nice. It is nice, but we just haven't got to that point yet.
And I feel like if you're starting out with e-commerce, it might be so like because as a new entrepreneur, you're kind of stressed out. There's all these things coming at you. Focus on making the money first. And anyway, if you just started your LLC or corporation, like your business entity, you have time. You have a lot of time until you have to pay any taxes, until you have to do any of that. So like, yes, you do want to, figure out your bookkeeping and all that sooner rather than later, or else you'll make the same mistake as I did, which I kind of put it away for too long. And then, by the time tax season rolled around, it was like a hurry up, like, let's get to it, let's get done. And, then you have penalties if you don't pay it fast enough. So yeah, but I prefer like QuickBooks because you can just plug in all your stuff, and then Excel. In the Excel, you can like have your accountant do put in all the formulas and stuff. If you don't have, if you're not making enough revenue in your business, like you don't have to hire an accountant, especially not on a monthly basis. So like you can figure out the bookkeeping yourself. It's not too hard. Like start with QuickBooks, and yeah, like just look for some Google Sheet templates. I feel like we should probably share a Google Sheet. We'll create a Google Sheet template. I'll probably put that into the free Amazon FBA course that I'm doing. Actually, yeah. So for everyone on YouTube, I've been getting a lot of questions about like if I am going to do a complete Amazon FBA free tutorial on my YouTube as well. And I've actually been grinding and creating it already for like 4 or 5 days now. So I am in the process of making it, and that's going to go up. I mean, we still have to like animate it properly and really make it good. So it's going to go up probably in the next 1 to 2 weeks, but I'm really looking forward to that because it's going to be insane, like by far. And I'm sure it's going to be the best Amazon FBA tutorial on YouTube, period, which will basically show you. I mean, it's not as much as a course, obviously, because there's only so much you can show in like, I don't know how long it's going to be, 2 hours, right? Obviously, a course is way longer, but in 2 hours, it's for a video that's that long, it's definitely going to be the best for getting started with Amazon FBA and just finding a product and starting to make sales and, starting your brand. So super excited about that. Let's see what other questions we have. Okay, someone says, okay, Alio asks, if you guys started from the beginning, would you go for Amazon FBA or Shopify? And I feel like this is a great question because the three of us are on here. So
Loaded
I think,
question.
Yeah, it is a loaded, because it's funny because depending on what each of us answers, I feel like that's going to sway people into either joining one of the programs or just doing one of the businesses. Scott, how about we start with you? If you were starting from zero, would you start with Shopify or Amazon?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think because I do sell on Shopify as well with my products, but the majority focus is on Amazon. And I think when you're an Amazon seller, of course, you kind of always get the thing, probably with any job, is like that grass is always greener on the other side. You're kind of always looking at the other side, like, wow, because I have personal friends that do e-commerce and wildly successful that are doing Amazon and doing Shopify. They're doing both, separately, different businesses and stuff, but they're both just absolutely killing it either way. So either way you go, you can be very successful. I think for me personally, I think a good place to start, since that's where my familiarity is with Amazon. And then from that point, you can always transition onto Shopify. If you have a private label branded product, you can always sell on Shopify. One of the criteria I look at for when I'm picking a product myself is, can I advertise it on social media? Like, would this be something that will be able to be advertised and people would want to buy it? Because I want to, in the long term, be able to sell on Shopify eventually. But for me personally, I'd probably start with Amazon FBA.
Yeah, and then Josh.
Yeah. So, well, before I start, I guess one thing I should say is that Shopify and Amazon, they're both just sales channels, right? Like you can start with either. Just because I started with Shopify doesn't mean I don't sell on Amazon. Like what Scott said, he's primarily Amazon, but he also sells on Shopify. So in terms of like barrier to entry, I would say that there was a big gap between the two before. Drop shipping was super easy before. Shipping costs weren't so crazy as they are now. So, the barrier to entry to Shopify drop shipping was a lot lower, right? You could get started with, $1,000, maybe even less. But now they're more or less, I think honestly, they're more or less pretty similar. You're gonna have to invest a little bit more into products just because of the shipping issues. So a lot of students are actually shipping goods to the US and then fulfilling it themselves from their homes, from their garage. But yeah, both are great. Both are definitely great. I do feel like Amazon, the buyers there are more engaged, as in like they're going to purchase something, right? Whereas Shopify, you kind of have to find them where they're at, give them the right marketing message, and show them the product, which is a little bit more difficult if you're not well versed in marketing. But yeah, that's my take.
So for me personally, and this is it's hard to answer this question because it's like I really have to be careful. Depending on what I answer, everyone's just going to abandon the other business model. So to be honest with you, I started with Amazon FBA, and the reason why I started with Amazon and not Shopify, because I also like saw videos about Shopify at the time. This was in 2017, so several years ago. When I was starting out, I saw Amazon, I saw Shopify. With Amazon, my gut feeling just told me that the customers are already there, and I don't have to like figure out how to run the correct Facebook ads. I don't have to deal with any advertising. I can just focus on getting the product up, and if it's a good enough product, it will sell. With the right like launch techniques and everything at the time. And so, with Shopify, you really need a skill. Like you need to learn how to run your own traffic, like how to run your Facebook ads, how to get, if you just make an amazing store, but you don't run any ads, like no one's going to show up to your site. So, you're not going to get any sales. That's why, to be honest with you, it's a toss up. There are pros and cons with both. The grass is always greener on the other side. Quite frankly, with all my most successful brands, we've always done both. Like we started with one, and then we've always done both, just like Josh, just like Scott. And with the current brand that we're growing right now, we're also on both already as well. And it's good because like just recently we were having an issue on our brand Amazon account with the product that we're selling. We were having an issue, and we were still able to make those sales on Shopify. So, it's good. Like you have two different streams of income, but at the same time, if you are not experienced, if you're just starting out, my number one recommendation would be stick with one thing, start on one of them, bring it up to, I would say, what do you guys think? Honestly, I think 10,000 per month in revenue is a good number to aim for. Would you guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
10,000? Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So 10,000 per month, like aim for that, get your product up, because like with Amazon if you have a good product and you didn't invest in something that was like super low demand, you should I wouldn't say easily, but like relatively simply get to 10,000 per month with your product. That makes it a six-figure product. If you take Jungle Scout, you download that and you pull it up on Amazon, you just go through Amazon, you'll see the massive amount of products that are estimated to be making over 10,000, like 10,000 or over per month in revenue. So, it's a good goal to aim for. And also at the same time, it's like people have limiting beliefs too. So for them, it's like 10,000 per month. Like that's crazy. I don't know if I can do that. Like just download Jungle Scout, go on Amazon, go through the product pages. Like you'll see how many products there are making 10,000 or more in revenue. And this is revenues. This is not profit. Profit would be like 30 to 50%, depending on, like how much your product costs and your advertising and things like that. But yeah, if I was starting from zero today, I would do everything that I did. I would probably start with Amazon, just because for me personally, as a complete beginner, I just want to focus on one thing. And I don't want to also have to learn like Facebook ads, because with Shopify, you have to learn Shopify and the whole product research side of it and how to find a good product. You also have to learn marketing and like how to run Facebook ads. And so, as a beginner for myself, I'm like, yeah, I should probably just, it's easier. At least it seems like it. If I was just starting today, like it seems like it's just easier to just get it on Amazon, like find a good Amazon product, get it up. But there are cons too, and the cons on Amazon are pretty big. Like long term, if you only stay on Amazon, it's pretty deadly, because you will run into nonstop headaches and issues. And I'm sure, Scott, you can agree. Amazon is annoying. Like they will do. I mean, it's just like, well, I don't know. Your product might get restricted. Your listing might get suppressed. Your account might get suspended for like some obscure reason. And then you reach out to them. You're like, why did it get suspended? And they're like, oh, we made a mistake, or it was some tiny little small thing that you didn't even like realize. And then, you might get like illegitimate trademark or copyright claims, which happens a lot on Amazon too. So, there is no best business model. I think e-commerce is the best business to start today. Not for everyone, but if you are interested in like that kind of lifestyle, you want to start something from your laptop and you want to have location independence, I think e-commerce is pretty hard to beat. But personally, for me, I would start on Amazon, but as soon as I could, I would also get my product up on Shopify and then start like having both of them, like, offering people both options. Like that's what we're doing now. Like with the brand that we're growing on the Shopify site, there's a button for buy it on Amazon, and then there's also like the actual sales page for the product. And some people, they go to our Shopify store, they go on it, and then basically they're like, yeah, but I trust Amazon more, so they'll just click on Amazon. Other people, they don't mind. So that's the ideal. Like you want to start with one. This is my advice. You want to start with one, but you want to aim to like have both. So start with one and then aim to have both. And then kind of, there's also a whole process of like combining them together, and that's a whole other thing, but that's what I would say. I'm not saying Shopify is bad. Shopify is amazing for certain products. Like with Shopify, you don't have as many restrictions on products as with Amazon, because with Amazon, they're really like strict on a lot of different products you're not allowed to sell. For like, you need some FBA approval or documentation or this and that. With Shopify, it's like Shopify doesn't tell you what to do. Like, yes, they can shut down your website. And I've heard of that happening, not to any of our students, but like technically they can, because it's their software if you're doing something illegal. But at the end of the day, Shopify is not a platform. It's just a tool that you're using to allow yourself to easily like be able to build a store with almost a drag and drop interface. Shopify isn't quite drag and drop, but almost drag and drop. Maybe it's going to get there one day, but yeah. So that's my answer. I would start with Amazon, but work to combine them as soon as possible.
Yeah. I think too, just to quick, while you're looking for another question, I'll just kind of follow quick on that. I think it depends as well on your budget. So if you have like $500 or $1,000, then maybe you want to kind of get experience with e-commerce, starting with Shopify or some drop shipping, and then, or you can kind of save it, build it up, and start a product on Amazon. Either way, but ideally with Amazon, you want a little bit more of a budget than like $1,000 to start, to be able to get the inventory and do the marketing and do the launch and everything that's needed for it.
Someone said, Mateo says, he says, hi, Dan, I'm 13 and I have a question. Look, by the way, if you're watching this and you're 13 years old, I think you have to be an adult to sell on Amazon. Like, I think when they ask you, you have to be 18. So unless you get your parents or something to sign up for you under their name, like for you to be the actual rightful account owner, you have to have a credit card, which requires you to be 18 anyway. So if you're like under 18, if you're 13, like you should just focus on like reading books. That's what I would do. And don't focus on, especially not investing large amounts of money into e-commerce, because at that age, it's like, it's best to build a foundation. So yeah. Let's see. You guys want to take a question? Let's, Josh, you want to take a question? Just choose any.
I'll, this is
Guys,
one
ask,
question
ask,
that,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry. I was going to tell the guys, ask your questions, put them in, because we're choosing questions.
Yeah. No, there's this one question about like, how long does it take, for you to get your first sale, and can I make it, with e-commerce? And I guess I want to take this real quick, just because that's simply a mindset issue. Literally, you'd be amazed. And I understand if you're not in the game of e-commerce, how those questions can appear, and, and how those limiting beliefs can really play a big role in stopping you, right? But, you have 3 of us right here and countless others, thousands of people all around the world that are selling, right? It's all a matter of just getting started. It's a matter of getting started, and going back to what Matteo said, can I do this without courses? Yeah, sure, you can. Like, Dan puts out a ton of insane like value in his YouTube videos, like follow it if you can't do the course. But with courses, what happens is you're following in the footsteps of giants, like these people who have already done it, right? So if you want to do or have a life that these people have, walk the way they walk, learn from them. That's what I'd say.
Scott, what is your opinion on courses and whether someone can succeed without a course or not?
I think that, having been doing e-commerce and just kind of being familiar with the internet marketing world for a very long time, I've come to learn that what makes a course valuable is one, the content that's in it. There's lots of good courses that have good content, or actually I should say there's also a lot of courses that have bad content, like it's just out of date, it's not really thorough. For people, I'm sure you've run into this, I've run into this myself, where there's like gaps in the information. So like you'll have what to do, or they'll kind of tell you what to do or what you should do, but they don't actually like show you the steps to get that done, right? Or it's like there's pieces of information missing. So when it comes to good quality of the actual content and thoroughness from start to end of all the steps actually needed to get through to accomplish what that video or module is talking about, it needs to be there. But for me now, when I'm evaluating a course, the most important thing I look at is the ongoing support that's in the course and the ongoing mentorship that's in it. So, a lot of people, they just release a course and maybe they'll do a couple live calls with the new people in the course. And then after like, a month or 6 weeks, they stop, right? So, and then they wait until the next launch and then they do another launch and they'll do like a couple live calls for the new people and then they stop. So I think if there's like ongoing mentorship, keeping things up to date, those are the most important things, I think.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
you
absolutely
can do it without, but it definitely helps to be able to get immediate feedback from someone else that's, actively, take Amazon, for example. Like if someone's actively selling on Amazon, you can immediately get some feedback from them or answer to a question without having to try to go search through Google or search through YouTube or something like that. That's definitely helpful, I would say.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree 100%. Like, of course, like, our company, Ecom Freedom, you could say that I'm a little biased because we do have an Amazon or Shopify course. The truth is that can you succeed without a course? My opinion is yes, but the vast majority will not succeed without a course because it's almost like trying to learn how to do surgery without going to university, like, yes, you can go to the library and buy books on surgeries and stuff and try to like do it yourself. But the only reason you're doing that is because you're saving money. Like it's like you're bootstrapping. You're just learning it, doing it yourself. Like there are some people that can do that. Like Elon Musk, he learned rocketry and everything to do with like launching rockets into space and all that. He learned that himself. If you watch some interviews, I read his book. Did you guys read Elon Musk's book? No.
Oh yeah.
No.
Really good. It's I got it right here by Ashley Vance. So it's like this journalist that wrote about him. Apparently, not everything in the book is. Elon was actually pissed off at some of the things that he revealed in the book, but very good read. Anyway, he said that Elon, he learned everything about space just through books and just studying like that. He didn't go to, like, I think he did go to school for like physics or something, but it wasn't like specific to do with space. So yeah, so the answer is, can you do it yourself? Yes, you can. But for most people, I would say over 95% of people, basically taking a proven course with, like Scott said, a high level of ongoing mentorship and support is huge. It's the best way that you can shortcut your way to success. And myself personally, when I was starting out on my journey, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, well, there are like these courses out there and they seem overpriced and, like $500 or even $1,000 or $2,000. Like that's kind of a lot of money, like for an online course, at the time I was thinking. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to try like watching YouTube videos. And so I tried. And what really made me reevaluate my opinion was the fact that, okay, I'm watching so many YouTube videos. Everyone is saying something different. And I don't know what's true. I don't know the structure. I don't have the step-by-step. I'm going to, like, if I sit down, I want to have the step-by-step. Like I want to know, I want to watch a video and do it. Watch a video and do it. I also don't want all the BS information that's not going to work for me. Like I don't want to make the same mistakes. And so in my mind, how I rationalized investing not into one, but also multiple. I invested into multiple courses. I split them with a friend back then. So we bought like a few of the influencers courses back then. Basically, like, for how I rationalized it was like, well, if this course is $500 and it teaches me one big mistake that I was likely to make, and it saves me that, like, basically it teaches me that, and I don't make the same mistake, and it's a very common mistake. Well, $500, I could have easily wasted $5,000 or $10,000 or 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever. And so that's how I rationalized it. Like, I'm literally just getting all the right information, most up to date. Also, I'm avoiding all the biggest mistakes that beginners make. So I can skip that whole process of like trial and error. I can just go straight to success. So that's my opinion on courses. Also just to be transparent, with Ecom Freedom, like it was me, like it was just me before like owning this company and, running my e-commerce businesses and doing everything myself. It was huge. It was too much for me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't mentor people properly. There came a certain point where I couldn't mentor people properly and also like do e-commerce successfully and give the time for everything and also have a balanced life. So that's why I brought Josh on board and Scott on board. And they're both incredibly successful e-commerce sellers and brand owners. The students are happy, and this is how we are going to basically create the best online business education platform. Like we're going to have just the most amount of success stories come out. Like you mentioned, that guy who's doing 1,000 a day and he's wondering whether he should quit his job or not, like that's awesome. We have a lot of those. We're always working to increase. I feel like we're at a good spot, but there's always work to do, right? There's always work to do. So we got a lot of plans, but yeah. So should you take a course? It's entirely up to you. Just think about, look, how I see it. If you want to make 6 figures, right? You want to make 6 figures per year. And I would say like the freedom number is 10,000 per month. So $10,000 per month is that special number where you can now travel the world, you can have location independence, and that's in like, let's say passive income, and we're going to say profit. Okay. So 10,000. So probably you'd need like a 20K revenue business at least for that. For me, it's like, if you set a goal of 20,000 per month or 10,000 per month, and you don't want to invest $500 into yourself, $1,000 into yourself with all the right information, into something that has a refund policy, like, you can get a refund at any time. It's like, I don't know, you can't get a refund on university. Like I spent $40,000 and I got zero. Like I got a few good times, but so that's my opinion. But there is a lot of backlash nowadays about courses, and rightfully so. There's a lot of channels out there like, there's a lot. There's like CoffeeZilla, and that's the only one that I know. But rightfully so. They're calling out people who have shitty courses, and their company doesn't practice what it preaches, and they're taking advantage of their students. And so that's something that I'm strongly against. And I'm happy with what we have today, and I'm very grateful and happy that we got like Josh and Scott on board, and the students are getting amazing help from people who are doing it in the trenches. So yeah, someone asked, is there going to be a sale for the Shopify Freedom course? I really want to buy it. So for Shopify Freedom, that's $497. By the way, the links for the courses are down below. So if you guys are wondering what we're talking about, you guys can check it out and see if it's for you or not. But is there going to be a sale for Shopify Freedom? No, that one is already cheaper. I mean, it's $497, so it's already on the cheaper end for programs. For the Amazon one, we don't have any sales like planned at all. We never do a sale. The only time I ever did a sale was Black Friday, but I don't think I'm going to do a sale for this Black Friday. So yeah, that is to answer that question. Let's see.
I was just going to answer just a couple quick ones while you look for another one. So Mateo, he was the 13-year-old I was asking earlier. I missed his questions earlier, but he said, is it okay to start basically a drop shipping? And then if it's successful, you can move on to like private labeling or buying inventory in bulk. And I think that's a fine way to start. That's one of the benefits of starting with Shopify is you can kind of test products without a huge capital investment. Whereas if you are on Amazon, you don't really know 100% if your product's going to be successful. You can't guarantee success, but you have to spend for inventory and private labeling and packaging and branding and marketing and all of that just to get it to Amazon, and then you'll find out. So so if you want to start with dropshipping just to test the concept, but as soon as you know it's working, I'd recommend buying your own inventory so you can really make sure that you get those quick delivery times, because one, long delivery times from dropshipping, the customers don't like it, Facebook doesn't like it, and it'll just ruin your business when you try to actually scale. So yeah, test it out. If you're under 13 and you're like, well, how do I get a bank account, or how do I get a credit card, or any of that type of stuff, it's best to just work with a family member or someone who's an adult willing to basically have an account and let you use that money and just work under their accounts and stuff. And then someone else asked real quick, how do you how do you manage, or why do you only pick products that are below 100 BSR? So for those who don't know, bestseller rank on Amazon is basically, it's a ratio of how good your sales are in that category compared to other products in that category. So if you're number one, that means you're the best selling product in that category. And if you're number 10,000, that means there's 9,999 products that are selling better than you in that category. So the reason why when doing product research, we recommend avoiding products that have a BSR of 100 or less, meaning like 100, 99, 98 up towards 1, is because those are already like super successful products. The people that are selling those products probably have thousands of reviews. If it's a really super good selling product like that, there's probably really saturated a lot of competition. So it's best just to avoid those products to start with. Maybe if you start building out a brand and one of those products in that brand you think should be one of those really good high selling products, well, go ahead and bring it out at that point in time. But if you're going to try to start out and compete with those, super hot selling products right away, you're going to set yourself up for, either one, failure, or two, spending a ton of money on marketing and launching to be able to compete with those other products. So that's why we don't recommend the really top best-selling products. Just eliminate those, find something that's a little bit more manageable for your product.
Josh, do you want to take one? I was just going.
Yeah, all good. So Zach Appleton Drums, he's just talking about, if he only has like $500, lost his job, no promise of a new one, can I save myself from ever going back to the 9 to 5 and make at least a couple to a few grand? Thanks for the help. So again, what we were touched on this in terms of like capital and how, starting a business or like even running a business, you need money, you need capital. It's like fuel to the fire. Without constant like injections of capital, to be honest, there's going to be a ceiling where your business is going to get capped. And I would recommend, and because there have been a few students in our course that have been in this situation. They've lost their jobs due to the current circumstances, and they don't know what to do. We literally continue to ask them, keep coming, because you need to know that you can achieve everything that you want to achieve in this life. However, we need to be realistic, and I don't want to be like, just go spend all your money on Facebook or Amazon or whatever it is without any guarantee of it all coming back. So you need to have that constant inflow of funds so that you can continue investing back into your business, into yourself. So to answer your question, I would say for now, you might have to, Zach, find that secondary income source or that primary income source and then move on to this as well. Without shooting yourself in the foot.
Someone said, Shrey said, also guys, please do your research on course sellers, check the credentials, any related education for digital marketing for ecom. Please do your research before buying. And I 100% agree. I think that, and I knew this was going to come. When I first launched, at the time it was Amazon Freedom. So that was my Amazon course. Everyone was asking for it. And I launched that. I saw it didn't take me a lot to make it better and cheaper than what was available. And also I saw what was going on with other people online who were also selling courses and stuff, and just like the tactics they were using and what they were doing. Funny enough, those people are marketing Amazon automation nowadays, which, Scott, do you know about Amazon automation? Do you have an idea of what it is?
Yeah, I do to a degree. Obviously, I haven't gone through the process of going through one of their sales calls and stuff, because honestly, they're selling them for $25,000 to $40,000 as your investment. So if you think that spending $500 or $1,000 on a course and then maybe spending money on inventory, they're charging $25,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 just to be able to get a product up, and that's not a guarantee of success, right? So basically what they're doing, I've heard from different people, and CoffeeZilla, you mentioned, did a really good video on automation, and there's been some other channels as well, but basically they might be doing it differently, but a lot of it is like drop shipping. So they're finding products that are cheaper elsewhere than on Amazon, and doing drop shipping that way, where they're which, by the way, Amazon doesn't like that type of drop shipping. So, you know,
Is that what it is? It's setting up like a drop shipping storefront on Amazon, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, they have like I said, I haven't gone through each one is probably a little bit different in how they do it, but some of them have been doing drop shipping. They have like software that will go find these arbitrage
For
things. None of them are buying you.
$25,000.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, none of them are actually buying you a private label product. Like that $40,000 doesn't go towards buying inventory, as far as I'm aware. So, yeah, it might be different for each one. It's just one of those things where it's like, if it sounds like they're saying, hey, if you do this, we'll get you 3 products and you got to pay me a percentage of the profits as well. That's another thing too. They're taking a percentage of profits or revenue on top of the investment. So, hey, give us $40,000 and then we're also going to take 15% of your revenue or profit or whatever. So, I don't know. I think stuff like that. I think if you're looking at like course sellers and stuff, I think it's important to look as well. Like I personally wouldn't buy a course from someone that also sells a course on selling courses and also sells a course on doing a Facebook marketing agency and also sells a course on how to do, you know, this other random business model. Like those people are like, they're in the business of selling courses for the most part. And that doesn't mean that like the course is necessarily bad, but it just means their attention is split between all these different things. And the attention.
You can't possibly be doing 30 different business models.
No, you can't. You definitely can't.
Yeah. So Nima said the major part of we had, by the way, we had a lot of you have a lot of students in here, like in both the programs, and they're saying very great things. Like McKay, he's actually been a longtime student like of mine. He joined back in I think 2017 when I first released Amazon Freedom, and he says, I'm in both courses. I've been a longtime student of Dan. I can vouch for both courses. All 3 of these guys provide great mentorship, which has led me to having successful brands on both platforms. So that's always amazing to see. They are smoking crack. No, we're not. The major. Someone said I'm high as F on weed. The major part of e-commerce is dealing with temporary defeats. They will occur. I think that's not just with e-commerce. I think with anything in life, literally anything, like, you know, any business model. You want to improve your, I don't know, if you're a guy and you want, you know, more attention from the opposite sex, well, like obviously you have to deal with rejection. Like, you know, you can't just sit in your room and, you know, like rejection will come sooner or later. I think it's anything in life is, you have to deal with temporary defeats. So we got a lot of like, Sebastian's 14 years old and he's in the Shopify. I was not thinking about making money online when I was 13 or 14.
Well, also too, I think when we were, well, at least when I was 13 or 14, I think I'm a little older than Dan, but YouTube wasn't really a thing, or is just getting like, you didn't have the access to the online education that you do now. People like Gary Vee and stuff, you know, they're promoting kind of entrepreneurship and doing your own thing. Like those people just didn't exist.
Yes.
They just didn't exist. They weren't around, or if they were around, you know, YouTube and these big social media platforms weren't around to really spread their message. So yeah, when I was in high school, I was thinking about high school and, you know, that was about it. Hanging out with friends and basically just, you know, I wasn't really thinking too much about entrepreneurship at the time, but now I mean, honestly, I'm a little bit jealous. People now, they have such a head start, you know, they almost have like, you know, like I say, if you're getting started at that age, even if you don't necessarily get a business off the ground, like your level of education, your level of knowledge of what's possible, and you know, the business models that are available, like you have such a, you know, such a jump ahead of what I did, at least at the time when I was getting started.
My dudes, we're gonna get destroyed by 13-year-old e-commerce moguls.
Yeah, I mean,
They're coming, man. Yeah, they're coming.
It's already happened. I mean, there's a lot of really successful young guys now.
Yeah. Oh, he said, not you, man. You're not smoking crack. The ones that are selling courses for 25K and taking a percentage, they are smoking crack. You know what, Gary Vee, what?
I feel bad for the people that feel like they need to spend that amount, because honestly, I mean, if you had 40K to spend, you can do a lot on Shopify or on Amazon. Like that's a huge budget. And so I just kind of feel bad for the people that kind of like, you know, obviously if they're willing to spend that amount, they have a pretty high level of like trust that it's going to work, right? You wouldn't really put that much money into something unless you felt for sure it's going to work. And you just hear kind of like the horror stories of one of the companies actually like shut down. I think CoffeeZilla did a thing on it, I think, where one of them actually just like basically shut down other companies, shut down their support email, like basically like, I don't know.
Take the money and run.
Like hanging for a little bit.
Yeah, they just took the money and run. Well, yeah, about what you said, going back to Gary Vee, I thought you were going to say, which I agree with everything you said. There was one thing about Gary Vee you mentioned. I wasn't 13 or 14, but probably when I was like 18, I'm 24 now. When I was 18 and I was getting started, I was looking into entrepreneurship, like I was interested, and I was about 18. I literally tried looking for online business, like how to do it. The only stuff that I could find at the time was like very, very scammy. You know what I'm talking about? Like those like early 2000s, super long sales page, that like infinite scroll sales page of like, affiliate marketing course or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that I found. And obviously on YouTube, the only thing I found on YouTube was Gary Vee, and Gary Vee was, just super motivational. Like he was just like always just basically preaching entrepreneurship, preaching, hard work and the hustle. I'm like, okay, hard work, hustle, grind, 7 to 2, let's go, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. But I'm like, what business do I do? And Gary Vee, I think, talks about baseball cards and stuff, which, that's not an actual business, in my opinion. Well, it's not a business. It's not even an opinion. It's just objectively not a business. And it's funny. Like I'm wondering why Gary Vee doesn't talk more about like Amazon or Shopify, or like giving people, the actual avenues, like, I don't know. It's an interesting question, but just if at the time, like when I was 18, 19, nobody on YouTube there was just no like specific, like I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I didn't know how to actually start, what to do. And the only option for me was, because in university, I kind of got brainwashed into thinking like, okay, well, either you're do the traditional 9 to 5, and then, you kind of live like an average life, or you start the next Uber. And I'm like, well, what's the next Uber that I can start? What's the next Airbnb? Obviously that wasn't the case. And then I found out about Amazon, and I'm like, wow, this is something that I can actually do. So, yeah.
Definitely. Someone who just said, I bought the course. I don't know which one he's talking about. But he says, I bought the course when I was 15 with my mom, and allowed me to do over 2,000 in revenue the first week. And then he paused once things started up with pandemic and stuff. But that's really awesome. Yeah. So this is young, age, I think people look back and they think what they were doing when they were 14, 13, 12, like I was, but you kind of miss out on how the world has changed, on what's available to, people who are younger now, and the opportunities that are available, and, streaming, making money playing video games wasn't a thing either. People that are doing Twitch and stuff now. It's crazy.
Grant Cardone thinks it's stupid. Someone said Grant Cardone thinks it's stupid to earn 10,000 a month. I don't, Grant Cardone, has taught me a lot. I don't know if it's stupid to earn 10K a month. I think that most people in this channel, in this chat right now, and most people that watch my videos, if they were making, the first milestone is 10K a month. If 10K a month passive income for me at the time, when I was starting out, I'm like, if I can make 10K a month passive income, that's more than, that would be 120,000 per year. For me, that's literally like more money than a CEO making $1 million per year at his 9 to 5 job. Because CEOs have to work they still have to sell their time for money, right? So, and I'm a CEO, but it's a different story. I'm talking about a CEO of like a Fortune 500 company, like an actual big company. So, and I think 10,000 per month is great. I think you can literally, I think you can, there's levels of happiness in your life. And when I was at 10,000 a month, what I did was I was able to basically just live my life in complete freedom. I went on a road trip. I just packed my bags, went on a road trip across America and Canada. And I went to like the most beautiful national parks, and I just stopped at like Starbucks, and for like literally probably an hour max every 2-3 days, I got on Amazon, I optimized my PPC, checked my sales, whatever. And I was good for like 2 days. And all I would have to do was just refresh my Amazon seller account on the phone. So yeah, 10K a month is huge. It's definitely not nothing.
I think it's important to, work in levels, right? So it's like, once you get to 10K, then you can decide, hey, what do I want to do? Do I want to earn more? Do I want to scale up even more? Do I want to get to 20K or 25K a month or something like that? But,
Someone said they're a doctor and 10K is more than they make. I guess you're probably not from the US, but I mean, 10K a month, that's like more money than most people make in the world. So, and with e-commerce, I definitely would not say that it's so like rocket science hard to make 10K a month. Like, would you guys agree? I don't think it's that hard to make 10K a month. I don't think so. It's not. Like, everything is relative. I think, yes, for some people it's easier. Maybe for myself it was easier than for someone else, but I don't know. I still had failures. Did you maybe let's talk about our failures. Did you guys run into failures early on in your e-commerce journeys? We start with Josh, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, oh God, I love talking about my failures because, man, there were so many.
Well,
Like
it's
a
good
lot
to
of
share. Yeah.
people. Yeah, definitely. Like, look, uh, like someone mentioned in the chat, life is all about failures. It's if you don't have failures, you don't know what you did wrong, you don't know how to grow, and you don't know where to go from there, right? So when I was first starting out, I was just going off like YouTube videos and, just trying to do what I could with the information available and with the budget I had. And yeah, I went through like 7 different brands. Like it was brutal because I didn't have that same mentorship, right? Um, and yeah, once all those failures, like eventually you get to a point where, you find someone who actually supports you and actually works through, your shortcomings as well, and kind of helps you build yourself up and build your business up. And yeah, it just gets easier and easier. So yeah, 7 failures. Joined Dan's course, and when he called out for the mentorship, yeah, I like jumped at it because if I could help someone to not have that many failures, then man, that'd be a crazy opportunity. And yeah, I just love to do that.
So wait,
But
you
yeah,
had 7. You had 7 failures, you said?
so there was like, yeah, before I started your store, your course.
You had 7 failed Shopify stores, or was it all
Yeah,
something else?
like so, like niches. So I was in like baby niche, pet niche, anything. And like literally, if you think about it, like, but I had a system. I didn't want to lose too much money, and I would run it to a certain point, and then if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and I'll just move on to the next one. But yeah, like that's why mindset is so important, because man, if I failed on the 6th one, then I'll probably still be working as an accountant, earning like
Threw in the towel,
40,000.
yeah.
Yeah, like working as an accountant, 40,000 a year, and yeah, 9 to 9 pretty much. Like it was tragic. So
That's
yeah,
what you were doing before, right? You were working as a
exactly.
CPA accountant, yeah. So
Yeah,
and you
so,
and you didn't. I mean, did you? I guess you didn't enjoy it, right? Like you weren't.
man,
No,
I
yeah.
hated it. My like, if we go back to like uni and college and all that kinds of stuff, like I spent like probably $75,000 in terms of like, how much I spent to get the qualifications to become a CPA, and I don't even use it now. Like, sure, it helps, but man, I got nothing back. There's no refund policy. There's nothing. It's literally sunken.
No refund policy on college, unfortunately. Well, I don't know if that's unfortunate or fortunate, because to be
Hmm.
honest, I guess in my, because it put me 40K in debt. For me, it was like, okay, I literally cannot work a 9 to 5, because I know that if I pursue this, it's going to take me probably 20 years to pay this debt off with my paycheck, 40,000 a year. So, 40K in debt, 40,000 a year with your salary, maybe it goes up to 50, 60, whatever, eventually, after how long. So I think fortunately, no refund policy on college, because that really, for me, it left me no choice but to pursue entrepreneurship and to pursue the best opportunities available at the time, which
Mhm.
are basically the same as today, like Amazon and Shopify. That's what I believe. So like consulting is also good too, depending on if you have like a prior skill for that. If you know, like, that's separate. That's off topic. I think that people that are becoming like coaches and stuff, right? Like, to coach, you have to actually know something and like do it. I see a lot of people coaching people nowadays, just like on like the on the like just like there's a big trend, but consulting is good. I think if you have a special skill and people need it, and if you know what you're doing, then yeah. There's always that rule of like the 10%. You only have to know 10% more than the next person. That only gets you to a certain point. So, yeah. But Scott, I think if you shared with everybody here your failures, did you also have 7, or how did it go?
Yeah,
Seven's
well,
nuts.
I don't know about 7, but I had kind of an interesting start, I guess, to my entrepreneurship with e-commerce. So I had some friends in this when I was living in Florida, but they would go work for this company that they would go to shows like the home and garden show. There's lots of these different, they go into like giant stadiums or conference areas, and there's a bunch of booths that set up, right? And people will be there to like sell different products, and they'd sell like this hand cream kind of thing. And I had some friends that'd go work for them, and they'd be like a 4-day show or something like that, and they make a commission off the sales and whatever. So I was like, well, why don't I just basically duplicate the business model, right? And I'll just create my own cream, and I'll go sell, and I'll get the full profit, right? So that's kind of like what I did. And I did that, created my own brand. I had my own cream, and I went and did it. And then eventually I got into it, and I realized that I just didn't like the selling part, right? So I was like, this is fine, but I just don't like the business. Like, I got into it, and I realized I just didn't like the business model. I didn't like going to shows. I didn't like a lot of different aspects that went into it. Even now, especially, they're not even having those shows anymore. So I'm glad I didn't pursue it because it's too much of an effect of other stuff that's going on in the world. But anyway, so I had the cream, and I was like, well, what do I do with it now? I don't want to do this anymore. So I ended up putting it up on Amazon to try to sell it. So it wasn't really made for Amazon. So it sold, but didn't sell like particularly well. But that little bit of experience caught me onto Amazon. I was like, okay, there's something here. And then I went and actually did product research the way it's supposed to be done, and started with that. And then again, like I mentioned earlier, started with one brand, did it for a little bit, and then realized that I just didn't like that brand. Well, the brand was good, but like I just didn't like the product. I didn't want to move forward with it too much. So and transitioned into my current product line now. But yeah, so I lost a lot of money on that cream and trying to start that business model. But just goes to show you, like, any business, doesn't matter whether it's a restaurant, clothing store, boutique, whatever you try to do, like there's obviously a little bit of a chance of failure. That's always going to be a chance of failure, but you just got to kind of move on to the next step and take what you learned and move forward with it. So yeah, it's kind of a weird business model to start with, but yeah, it was an interesting thing. But I realized I just hated going to shows and like having to travel, because you'd have to like travel because they're not all in your location, right? So you'd have to like go to a different city or go to a different state, and it was just such a pain. So I was like, no, this isn't for me.
I didn't know that you were. I didn't know that story. I didn't know that you were selling. Yeah. It was creams, right? Like from like at shows, right?
Yeah, it's like an all-purpose like hand body cream kind of thing. Yeah, lotion, basically, like cream. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'd get tired of that really quick, like going to shows and selling. Because I mean, were you even passionate about the cream, right?
No, not really. So like another thing too, that's where it comes to. I basically just saw what someone else is doing, and I was like, well, I'll just do that, and I'll make like the full profit. It's a great, brilliant idea. And then I, went and did it, and then I realized I hated it. So sometimes it also helps to just kind of test, if you're interested in something, like, maybe get a job doing it or work for someone else doing it, or just test it out in some way to see if you really truly enjoy it. You mentioned consulting, like some people like, I want to be a consultant, and then they start doing it and they realize they hate working with clients or something, right? It's like, so you got to kind of like work out what you enjoy and what you like. But yeah, it was pretty, it was an interesting time for sure. But I also learned private labeling. So like I learned how to formulate my own, like I had to find a manufacturer. So like I found a manufacturer for it. I formulated it, came with a custom formulation, worked with them for it. Branding, set up a website, like doing all that type of stuff. Like, so it was an experience. I took that learning experience and I just rolled it into my next, my next thing.
By the way, for everyone here, we got a lot of people on, like 300 something people. I think last time I checked 200 something. So for everyone here, basically I'm Dan. If you've probably seen my videos before or not, if you're on the channel, but here I wanted to introduce Josh and Scott. They're both a part of Ecom Freedom. And Scott, he's our head of Amazon. So he is responsible for mentoring like one-on-one the students in the Amazon program, along with myself on calls. And then we have Josh, who is doing the same thing. He's our head of Shopify, and he is mentoring students one-on-one in the Shopify Freedom program, which the links are down below. So if you guys want to get mentored by all three of us, or, well, it wouldn't be all three of us, it would be like either me and Josh or me and Scott, depending on which program you would get into. All three if you take both, but those links are down below. And I wanted to ask you, so you had, one more thing I was going to say about Josh and Scott. They both are very successful at e-commerce. Scott's been selling on Amazon for a long time, several years. and he has over 7 figures in sales. And then Josh, he's also been selling, I think for a few years now, Josh, right? A few years now.
Yeah, a couple years now. It's been like
couple years. And
two,
Josh, he was an early student in my Shopify Freedom program. And so he actually invented a product. Like he went above and beyond. He invented a product. He's got multiple stores, and he is they're also very successful at the Shopify side. So we got amazing e-commerce talent right here, cutting edge. And if you guys have any questions at all with getting started, we will give you the answers. So just feel free to. Someone's asking about like, how do I convince my ex to come back? You're on the wrong live stream, man. This is not this is not the right YouTube channel. Switch channels.
I'll answer it. Just don't do it.
Just not worth it. Someone said, oh yeah, you always get these people. You got the skeptics, right? And it's obvious that it's normal to have skeptics. And I've had them since day one of doing YouTube, to be honest. But someone said, Perp Dillinger said, they just want to sell you a course. If I was making $100K a month on a product, why would I tell anyone? So I think, just to talk about that, what you don't realize is that having more than one income stream is better than having just one. I just read Ray Dalio's book Principles, and in that he's like the most successful founder of the most successful hedge fund in the world. He said that his holy grail of investing is to basically, like, his number one investment strategy that he found at his company was to create multiple uncorrelated, he called them return streams, so income streams, and basically try to find a way to combine them, but they have to be uncorrelated. And so obviously it's exactly what I did with e-commerce, so like, does selling courses make money? Yes, obviously. But, I think people are just like, really like, they don't see that, like, wow, helping someone, they don't see that there's a natural progression to doing something and then teaching it. Not everybody gets to the teaching part. The three of us got to there, but it's just a natural progression. Like, think about anything in life. Let's say you learn guitar, right? Some people, they just become guitarists, just for the fun of it. They start successful bands. Others become guitar instructors. My friend Adam, he's a pilot, and I wanted to be a pilot too. I still want not to be a commercial pilot, but I'm going to work on getting my personal pilot's license. But he didn't want to be a flight instructor. He wanted to be an airline pilot. But basically, instead, just for the time being, he decided to become a flight instructor, especially right now during like COVID, just to have like the revenue stream. So yeah, I think it's limiting beliefs. Like someone will watch a channel like mine about success, and they'll be like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I'm gonna try to absorb everything I can from this person and from these videos, because obviously they're valuable. And someone else, they'll watch and they'll be like, that's a scam, So it's like, that's my opinion on it. What do you guys think? Would you agree with me? Like, there's always going to be, no matter what you do in life, there's always going to be.
I mean, I think for the most part, it's like, people are also jaded from just a bunch of bad courses and bad, even before, like, I always see stories too about people like on Instagram, like someone will just post their random results or in a Facebook group, they'll just post a screenshot and be like, look what I did. And then people will be like, teach me, like, what I mean? It's just like, people are just like so willing to like jump at stuff. And then when that guy burns them or like doesn't give them anything useful information, of course, they're going to feel like, kind of bitter about it and mad about it. But I'd say if you don't want to buy a course, don't buy a course, look at YouTube, do whatever you want to do. It's kind of like, no one's forcing you. Like I said,
honestly, that's amazing advice. What you just said, if you don't want to, like, if you're skeptical, you don't want to buy a program, don't buy it. Do it on your own. Give it like, I would say, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, a year if you have to, and then later on see if you succeed, right? I think that's, if you really have a problem with paying for information, some people do, so.
Yeah, I think there's so many different, there's instructions for all different types of things. You can take a course on photography, you can take a course on, learning to code. There's tons of different types of ways you can do it. This is just one course on one business model, basically. So just kind of depends if you want the mentorship. Like I said earlier, what I think is a good course is ongoing mentorship that's actually up to date and that. So I think that's when you get into people that buy multiple courses, because you get into one, it sucks. They go buy another one. That one sucks. They go buy another one. That one sucks. And you say, yeah, I bought like 5 courses. I didn't get anywhere. Well, someone mentioned like ASM. So like, I think this is, again, probably a little bit biased, but I think that, the content that's in this course, as an Amazon seller myself, like I know what's good content and what's bad content. So I can say the content in this one is, and I'm familiar with ASM's material as well, so I can make the comparison, is just as good. And, you get ongoing mentorship, and it's also, 1,000 compared to 5,000. So, take your judgment on that. But, again, make your own choice. Do whatever you want to do. It doesn't affect me. I was a full-time Amazon seller before I started working with Dan too. And I still am a full-time, as far as making money from Amazon. Like, I don't need money from this. I did it because I was interested in something to help people actually. And I was like, well, it sounds great. Perfect. I don't have to create my own course. I don't have to do anything. I can just help people in the group. And I enjoy doing that. So.
Let's take, I fully agree with what Scott said as well. On all the points that we covered, like, some people, for them, course is perfect. Just go all. Some people are like that. They're just going to say, yep, find me the best course. Let's do it. Another person will be like, nah, I can do this without a course. I feel like some people, they think they can do it without a course and they say it, but 6 months pass by, 12 months pass by of just watching YouTube videos and they get nowhere. So it's like, maybe if you actually, it's like, I think it's the same thing as like a person who, wants to get fit and they feel like they can get fit without going to the gym. I tried to work out for 4 months during this Corona, like, with minimal equipment, and I did not enjoy it personally. I did not enjoy it at all. Now that I'm back at the gym, I'm so happy. My life is so much better. So yeah, I don't know. It's all mindset really. Book, I think this is an amazing one. Let's do some book recommendations because all 3 of us read, and I feel like it'd be really something great to share. So maybe if I'll do mine last. I feel like Scott, you can start with any books that you would recommend, just the best books that you've read that you recommend for someone starting.
Oh man, you should come back to me. I need to go back to my list. I have a list here.
Okay, you have a list. No problem. Josh, any book recommendations?
Yeah, I'm just opening up my Audible because I'm a big advocate of listening as well as getting some cardio. There's one that's amazing, and it's I've read this like many times. It's called Ready, Fire, Aim. So if you're looking at like getting started in business, this is a book that I really referred back to, when I was getting started. It's by Michael Masterson, and it pretty much goes through all of the different steps in business and what you should be focusing on at each step. So it's really good information for depending on where you are, like whether you're 7 figures or 6 figures a month or whatever it is, it can help you. Another one that's maybe I'll give 3. One, another one that is really good is Shoe Dog, which is Nike, the autobiography of Nike's founder. Yeah, it's like a movie, man. But like, it just shows that Nike's one of the biggest brands in the world right now. And the way he started it was just through pure tenacity, pure grit, pure just luck, to be honest. But now he's built this amazing brand, and it's just amazing. So Shoe Dog for sure. And then maybe another one. I put this in the group a lot, and it's called How to Write Copy That Sells by Ray Edwards. And this one's just about how to use your words to convince people to purchase. So for example, for people who are watching this and they don't know why they're not getting any sales, maybe checking this book out is something that's worthwhile doing. Really getting that marketing message across and in an efficient way. So yeah, that's my 3.
Scott, do you have any recommendations? I'll go last.
Yeah, I need to actually run to, because I'm like blanking on the actual title. So I need to run to my bookshelf and actually like pull out.
Yeah, sorry, I just had some ambient noise. So I think, yeah, the ones that you mentioned, Ready, Fire, Aim, that one was by Masterson, right?
Yeah. Ryan
Uh,
Masterson, I think.
yeah.
No, Michael,
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 Michael.
Michael Masterson. So that's one that I really wanted to read. I didn't read it there was a reason I didn't read it though. I think it wasn't available like with Amazon Prime or on Kindle. So it's like you're so used to convenience nowadays. But that's definitely one that I want to read. I think he also wrote. Zero to 100 million. Like there was a book, something like that. I might be wrong. I might be mixing them up, but that one I know that is also a good one. Shoe Dog I've read. Amazing book. Scott, have you read Shoe Dog?
No.
That's amazing. And especially because it's to do with like physical products,
Yeah.
like because he was like he literally had to fly to Japan, it was right, Japan,
Mm,
to source sneakers, and like how he found those like cutting edge cut like those brand new designs which were
mm,
so unknown in America at the time.
mm.
So that's, yeah, I mean it's crazy. He imagine back then doing Amazon or Shopify. People are finding it hard now and they can't make money. How can you not succeed when you can literally do everything from your computer? Everything. Like
Mhm,
I
mhm.
don't understand. I can I can share a personal story of mine. So one of my family members, um, he actually, like, I was born in the former. I was born after the Soviet Union collapsed, but I was born in Latvia, which is a country that used to be part of the Soviet Union. So basically part of Russia back when it was communist. What happened was at the time when communism collapsed in Russia in the Soviet Union in 1991, um, business opened up, and that was the first time in 1991 that you can actually start a business. Before that, it was illegal to start a business. You were not allowed. So you just had a job, or that's it. There's nothing else like that. Or you got paid under the table or something. So in 1991, people, a lot of guys, they were like, just like now, they were like trying to think of ways to make money because now, capitalism's here. Let's make some money. Let's start. Because they didn't want to make money. They wanted to have a better life than what they had during communism for their families. And so one of my family members, he tried to, I think it was the equivalent of my journey. And a lot of people, when they're trying every single online business, like affiliate marketing, I don't know, Bitcoin, whatever, and nothing works. So he tried a bunch of stuff. And then he ended up getting into, like, at the time he was telling me about this, he called this import export, which is essentially what we're doing. Well, it's importing, it's not really exporting, but um, he actually he told me he flew to China 79 times. 79 times he flew to China from Europe, and in the 90s. And I asked him, like, why? And he told me that, well, what do you mean? How else would I find suppliers? Like, how else would I meet people, like meet the supplier? And so I asked him, like, what about your first time? Like, what, did you just pack your bags and fly to China? And he said, yeah, I literally just packed my bags. I flew to Beijing, and then somehow he flew to Beijing. He found one supplier. He walked into a factory and he was like, hey, can you connect me? I'll pay you. Can you connect me with like the best jacket manufacturers that you know? Because he knew that he could bring jackets back to his country and sell them for a lot more at the time. And so through that, literally by building a network in China, he eventually got to Harbin, I think it was the city, and then there he found a jacket manufacturer. And funny story that he tells me is that back then it was really hard to like just import stuff. So every time he would fly back to Europe, he would back to Latvia, he would literally wear like 20 jackets, and he came through customs like a ball. He was like walking like a circle, and they would be like, are you sure you're not declaring anything? And he'd be like, yeah, no. And he's just like this big. So, but that's a funny story because, like, comparing it to now, you don't have to fly to China. You don't have to fly to China ever. I've never flown to China. Have you guys ever flown to China?
I've flown a midway stop into China. So like I was on my way to Thailand, but we stopped in China and then caught a flight. But yeah.
But I mean, did you fly to China to meet suppliers or anything like that?
Oh, no.
No.
I actually
Josh.
went. Yeah, I actually went. Apparently when all this COVID stuff was happening in November last year, or December, I think. Yeah, December last year, we met our suppliers, and yeah, we kind of just like kicked it out, like just hung out and chilled out, and it was awesome.
How was that? Can you tell us about that? Because I've always wanted to fly to China, and I've
Yeah.
always told myself, but obviously with Corona, I feel like now they're great though. Like there's like no more Corona there, so
Yeah. So the experience was pretty awesome. However, like there is crazy different. And like, look, I'm Asian, right? I understand how like worlds work in Asian countries, but China, man, that it was like a different world. It felt like you literally rock up, and if you speak English, like they don't give a like they don't care about you. Like you speak Chinese, you speak Mandarin, or you don't speak at all. If you're but of course, like your supplier, they help you and they kind of take care of you. But after I left the city that my supplier is from, and my wife and I were trying to do like sightseeing and trying to order Macca's and like McDonald's, it was just impossible. It was absolutely impossible. It was
You guys
very,
say
very tough.
Macca's in Australia for McDonald's, right?
Yeah, McDonald's. My bad.
Yeah, we say Mickey D's. That's what we say. Or
Mickey
Don's.
D's.
We say Don's. Yeah, Don's. It's a Canadian version. Yeah, we should all do a China trip together.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun actually.
Oh
Yeah,
my
for
god,
sure.
we do a China trip together and we vlog it, and yeah, we just beat up some suppliers. It'd be an epic time. Did you go to Shenzhen? Where'd you go?
I went to Fujian, so I don't really know where that is, but like it's one of the cities there. My manufacturing guy, like he's a boss. I don't know if he's ever going to watch this, but he's driving around in like a X6. He's like, oh
Killing
man,
it.
he's got like he's killing it. He's killing it. Love him.
Yeah, I feel like all those guys, like all those people guys and girls who are running those factories that we're buying from, I feel like they're doing pretty well. The whole world's buying for them. But, oh yeah, I was gonna say my best books to start. So I've covered this a lot on my channel, but just to make it easy, I'll say it again. So if I was starting out today, the books that I would read in the following order, the first book I would read is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Actually, this is literally the order of the books that I read. Rich Dad Poor Dad. When you read that, though, it's by Robert Kiyosaki. When you read that, though, ignore what he says about real estate, because yes, real estate is a good method to park your money. But for someone who's broke and who's in debt, you're not about to invest in real estate. Like you just need to, make an income, right? So ignore what he says about real estate. Everything else is good. Rich Dad Poor Dad. Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco, amazing book. Unscripted, which is also by MJ DeMarco, amazing. The next one I'd read is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And then I would read, there's so many, but start with those 5. That's enough. And yeah, you should be well on your way to success. Like most people, when you approach them with like a self-help book, they're like, self-help, like that's all common sense. I know this stuff, but then they look at their life and they're like miserable and stuck in a dead-end job and in debt, right? So yeah.
I have a couple. I finally remembered a few books as well. So while you're looking for the next question, I'll do it. So one of the ones I really liked was Deep Work. Have you read Deep Work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was good because a lot of people have trouble just like focusing and actually being productive and getting work done. Another really good one, just for like, if you're really interested in just entrepreneurship and just kind of like business basics, Profit First. I don't know if you've read Profit First. That's just a good one to just get like a basic, knowledge of how to handle your money and get into business. And then another one which I thought was pretty interesting, it was called Upstream. So the basic concept of that is like, people are always just kind of looking at trying to handle their immediate problem and don't really like go back or up or, however you want to look at it, to find the actual source of the problem. So whether that's in life or in business or whatever that is, like, you gotta, I think in the book, he uses this analogy like of all these kids inside of they're coming down this river and like, they're like need to be saved out of the river. So like they're trying to like save all the kids. And then all of a sudden one guy's like, wait a minute, maybe I should go upstream, because that's where the name of the book came from. It's like, I should go upstream, figure out why all these kids are falling into the river in the first place. Right. So it's kind of, you need to kind of like, I think as an entrepreneur, you need to be think of problems and solutions, and always be thinking of like how to solve your problem yourself, and not always just kind of like running into a roadblock and then just stopping or, not moving forward. So.
Yeah, I wrote down the names of the books that I recommended, and then I also wrote down Josh's. I think I'm gonna write down Scott's now. So one of them was Profit First.
Profit First, Deep Work, and upstream.
Profit first, deep work, upstream. Cool. Awesome. Have you guys read The Millionaire Next Door? I actually did read that book. Did you guys read that? Millionaire Next Door?
Not
I don't
yet.
think, no, I don't think I read that one.
Yeah, skip that. I thought that it was going to be like, I thought it would teach me how to be a millionaire, but all it taught me was that the richest people, or the average millionaire, is just like this guy who wears raggedy clothes, wears like a beater in his driveway, drives like a Toyota, and owns some like landscaping company or something, like some obscure type of business, And yes, he's a millionaire like on paper, but he's not like, he's just like really frugal. So that's what that book taught me. I'm like, I don't want to read this. Like, this is not the kind of millionaire I was thinking about. And then I read Millionaire Fastlane. That was completely different by MJ DeMarco. He was like, here is what you need to do if you want to live an epic life. That's why I loved it so much. Can you speak French, Dan? I don't know. Can I? I'll leave that as a mystery. Let's see. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up soon. If you guys want any questions answered about online business, Amazon FBA, Shopify, for those of you that have been here, if you guys want to get mentored by us, you guys want to learn how to start a successful online business, and you want to learn from the best, the links are down below for the eCom Freedom courses for Amazon FBA and Shopify. And let's see.
There was this question from Tristan's World that came up a few times. I might just quickly read it out. So he's talking about when he's doing Shopify, how can he avoid the big foreign currency translations, because he sells, he's in Canada and he sells in USD. So similar situation to myself, like I live in Australia and I sell in USD. There's two ways around this. One, you can either just let Shopify handle your translation for you, but you're going to, always have that FX, gain or loss every single time you get paid out, which kind of sucks. The other thing you can do is, set up a Payoneer account and then get paid into your PayPal primarily, and then PayPal will send your money into Payoneer and just keep it in USD. And then finally, the last thing that you can do is you can get a payment processor like 2Checkout. There's 2Checkout. I think there's BlueSnap. There's all sorts of payment processors that actually transact only in USD, and then they transfer it into your US bank account. So that's what I do. I use 2Checkout and then keep all of our funds in USD.
And does 2Checkout keep your USD in 2Checkout, like as a balance, or?
No. So 2Checkout works really well with PayPal and Payoneer. So it transacts every business day, depending on how much of a relationship you have with 2Checkout, or like every week.
Gotcha. All right. I feel like let's see. Someone asked, do we get Amazon or Shopify guidance if we get into one course? No, you get the course that you bought for is the guidance that the mentorship that you get, which makes sense. Did you read the 4-Hour Workweek? Yes, I did read that. Did you guys read that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one.
Yeah, me neither. Not a fan at all.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I feel like the main takeaway is like, you don't necessarily have to do everything yourself if you're scaling up, but if you're running an actual business, the idea of just sitting and working 4 hours a week is not realistic. I mean, I feel like, Jeff Bezos isn't working 4 hours a week. I promise you that.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely don't work 4 hours a week. So, and I don't think any of us do here. So, I mean, if I wanted to, if we wanted to, yeah, but I don't want to, because then what am I going to do? So has the course been updated? Yes. So the Amazon FBA course, actually, usually all the other internet marketer guys, they would do an epic big launch, but they'd hype it up a lot. No, but I quietly just launched that just because, our existing students, they've been waiting for an update, and we made it the best in the world. So it's fully updated. So the Amazon's fully updated. Shopify 1 is also updated. There's a few things missing, which we are working on to like it's fully updated for you to actually start and make money. The only things that are, I would say, missing are like, there's a few extra things that we're going to add in. So like organic, or like ways to make money with Shopify organically without relying so heavily on Facebook ads, other methods of paid traffic, other product research methods probably as well, with like intuition and stuff like that. But yeah, we are like, if you join the programs, whichever one it is, you get access to the updates for life. So it's a pretty insane, it's a pretty insane deal, because like, what other thing that you pay for once and you can come back in like 3 years, 4 years, and it's there. So, and it's updated. So yeah, who's the author of the book Deep Work? It's like a yellow one. I'm not sure who the author is. Do you guys know?
Not at the I can look it up real quick.
It's like a yellow one. If you type Deep Work on
Cal Newport.
Cal Newport. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I think we're gonna finish this. We're gonna wrap this live Q&A up. Thank you everyone for being on here. And by the way, don't leave yet. Just make sure that you know that we do this weekly live Q&A. I do it every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern. So until I am going to Norway, like on October 1st, my plan is to go, hopefully with like all the Corona restrictions, they actually let me in. But yeah, so I'm going to go there. By the way, if any Norwegians are on this call, DM me on Instagram if you guys want to meet up. Cause I want to meet up like more people around the world. Cause obviously I got like people watching this. We're all from around the world, which is awesome. So if you guys want to ski or something or anything that's cool to do in Norway, just like DM me on Instagram, Dan Vass. And otherwise, thank you so much, Josh and Scott, for being here. Super happy to have you on here, and we're definitely going to be doing this a lot more. So we'll have like Scott one weekend, we'll have Josh one weekend. Sometimes it'll be just me, sometimes it'll be all of us. So yeah, if you guys want your questions with eCommerce answered, if you want help with achieving success faster, and you want to achieve freedom, make sure to join these. Thank you, Scott and Josh. Thank you, everyone. And see you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.